I have, in a long time, not seen a show that starts with such promise that it excites me to no degree and, in sharp contrast, after 4 episodes, does such a free fall in quality that it genuinely irritated me. Not for its poor quality, but the sheer squandered potential. For the OG subscribers on this channel, you would know that we have been craving for Hindi filmmakers to create stories that have a blend of the supernatural and mysterious and integrating it into the real world, utilizing folklore, something so rich and abundant in this country, and channelizing it as a storytelling tool to blend it with something like a murder mystery. This is something that was done with great conviction in a series like Asur, and what seems to be Netflix's desperate attempt to have their own version of the same. We have Mandala Murders that has been produced by YRF Entertainment. Everyone is shocked to see YRF in the digital space, absolutely forgetting that they are behind one of the most impactful series on Netflix in recent years, in the form of The Railwayman. Through Mandala Murders, the creators focus on a series of eerie and mysterious murders that take place in the fictional town of Charandaspur. When an out-of-duty cop, Vikram, played by Vaibhav Gupta, takes a keen interest in these murders owing to his family history, he crosses paths with Riya Thomas, played by Vaani Kapoor, a CIB officer who is in the same city, uncovering a shootout against a police officer. When Riya realizes that the history of Charandaspur is far more complicated than she originally envisioned, she gets knee-deep into the case with the help of Vikram that involves politics, betrayal, obsession, affairs, and more importantly, goes beyond the understanding of mere mortals and extends to the existence of a mandal established more than 70 years ago, the mysterious boons that are handed over to people in exchange for an offering, and the ultimate fanatic goal that even would put Thanos to shame. I know I have been late to the party in covering the series, but my binge session with this show extracted so much frustration within me that I had to rant with all of you on what went down. You have to tell me in the comment section below on what was your experience. So here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the series so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Mandala Murders on Netflix or not. The good. Lore and build up. The series and its initial episodes that attempt to garner your interest through developing the history and lore behind the mandal and its existence in Charandaspur is where the series peaks. We on this channel talk about celebrities peaking too early, and this is precisely the feeling you have with this show. It genuinely interests you on what this mandal went through, and what's interesting regarding your viewing experience is that you are on the fence regarding their moral position. You do not know whether they are perceived harshly by the public, whether they have reason to believe their god beyond science, or they can be reduced to mere fanatics. It's brilliantly kept vague so one is interested but not dismissive of their existence. You have characters talking about the omnipresent nature of shadows, how death looms around the corner, how the mandal seeks for its target with a specific purpose, and no matter what measures humans may take, fate will work towards its goal. It's all written brilliantly and with great detail. When a character describes the shadows and their existence outside of their physical bodies while looking over someone's shoulder, the show has the ability to genuinely creep you out. And this is around the 3rd or 4th episode mark, especially spiking with the integration of Raghubir Yadav's character, where the series just has the right balance of the supernatural elements guiding the murder investigation. The raita, however, after that is something that really does make you facepalm through most of the series. I also realize that we are so deprived of stories that integrate folklore or supernatural elements well in investigative thrillers that even when filmmakers give us a sliver, we give them the benefit of the doubt for the effort, not realizing that we are just thirsty souls looking for anything to quench our horror desires. Some performances. I must say that the series really has a lot of inconsistent performances. Usually my criticism of recent projects has a structure where at least the acting talent does a fairly good job and it's the writing that really makes the projects falter. However, in this case, it is truly a case of some actors just not understanding the assignment, and even the writers dragging out a concept and making it unnecessarily complicated with pointless subplots. However, the talent that absolutely nailed it need to be appreciated, and I must say Vaibhav Gupta as Vikram is spectacular in this series. The character is dealing with a lot of childhood trauma and you see him grappling with that every step of the way. In the moments of revelations where he gets a glimmer of his past, you see him like a toddler screaming and yearning to be recognized and acknowledged. There is a deep sadness in his demeanor, yet a determination to seek for the truth, and this accounts for a layered and very effective performance. This is also my attempt to announce a call to action for Bollywood to acknowledge and recognize and celebrate a talent like Surveen Chawla, who plays the role of Ananya Bhardwaj. She is a talent that has consistently delivered in the streaming space and I believe deserves so much mainstream attention. She is calculated, cunning, and has this magnetic confidence that just takes command of every room she enters. While her character is written extremely poorly, especially in the latter half, trust Surveen to still shine with subpar writing. In the supporting roles, I must say Raghubir Yadav generated the most interest from me regarding the lore associated with the Mandal, and Shriya Pilgaonkar has moments where she does leave a solid impression. I think Shriya is styled better than she is written because I couldn't get over the fact that she had to dumb down everything that she was saying, completely losing the zing of the dialogues. Imagine saying something intimidating to someone in Hindi कि चरण दासपुर अब उन शक्तियों का प्रकोप देखेगा जो मानव समझ के परे है. We're just going to do something that's beyond your understanding. It loses the impact completely. The underwhelming aspects. Unnecessary subplots. There are moments in this series where you want to grab a hold of the filmmakers and say the meat of the show. The one thing that is drawing people in this is the lore of the Mandal and the powers that seem to be beyond human understanding. Can you explore that a little more? The makers want to justify the existence of every actor in this series, and justifiably so. Why wouldn't you? But sadly, it is at the cost of the momentum of the show. The subplots tend to halt the proceedings and one trudges through these random subplots barely generating interest. You have this weird affair, this undercurrent of sexual tension between two characters that just seems forced. When you see the series holistically and think about this relationship in retrospect, it doesn't even make sense of why it was explored. Then you've got the political and personal dynamic between Surveen Chawla and her husband, and it bears no significance to the main plot at hand. You've got Vaani Kapoor, who is placed on the ground and is dealing with PTSD of what has happened on one of her missions, but its execution is so subpar that it barely leaves any emotional impact. Especially in the concluding moments of this series, new characters and relationships spring up consistently, genuinely compelling you to make a family tree to understand who is who. I can understand that to be the formative episodes, but not in the concluding moments where the audience should be well versed with everyone. Unintentionally funny sequences. I cannot tell you how funny the action set pieces of this series are. I don't know why the makers believe that if they want to convince us that Vaani is a capable action star, she has to essentially become Tiger Shroff for this series. The problem is that Vaani is agile and fit enough, but is handed over such ludicrous action choreography that all the moments of combat in this series become unintentionally funny. It's not only restricted to her, but all the action. There is this character that is introduced as the shadow of death. And what should be your reaction if you on paper design the Baba Yaga or the embodiment of Yamraj coming at your doorstep? It should be intimidating and scary, right? But every time this shadow of death came to the scene with its bootleg Mortal Kombat Scorpion getup looking like an extra from the Mask of Zorro, barging into the scene with this most generic wire work, it took away the mysticism of this entity ready to kill you. Its entries and action choreography were laughable. And coming back to Vaani, she looks extremely fragile with the action. She is doing these combinations of martial arts, punching and kicking, and in some sequences, truly flying, but it looks like a rehearsal versus what should have been the end product. There is this sequence that is intended to be nail-biting with these automated darts, and it's the most laughable action sequence. In the climax, you have Vaani literally flying in the air with these random action poses, and it just made me facepalm on how the makers thought it was aesthetically pleasing. Performances. There are too many inconsistencies, as I previously said, regarding the performances in this series. Jameel Khan, who is otherwise an extremely capable performer, someone who is exceptional in a series like Gullak, I think he went through what most veterans go through while on set with relatively young creators. These actors are so capable, have so much experience that creators often don't tweak their performance. Almost an assumption कि जो कर रहे होंगे सही ही होगा. This is something that Pankaj Tripathi went through on film sets where he was almost in autopilot mode because no one gave him any actionable cues because sir तो कुछ गलत नहीं कर सकते. Similarly, Jameel Khan is a caricature at best in this series, and his candor and jokes almost take away from the depth of the supernatural elements of the series. However, the most glaring miscast in this series has to be Vaani Kapoor, and I hate to point out an actor particularly because it seems like I'm targeting them, but she gives nothing to the series. Her physical demeanor and the odd costume she is handed over anyway make her look out of place, but she has these stoic expressions that just don't make us empathize with her. It's a genuine struggle to know Rhea and what she is thinking. She tries to intimidate a goon and she tries to process trauma, and both these polar opposite feelings extract the same reaction from us. Nothing. The key difference is something that you will see in a face-off with Surveen Chawla. While one is implicitly confident, the other almost forcefully has this grimace on her face, convincing us that she is intense, making it a very awkward performance to sit through. There are moments where she is making the right choices as an actor with the pauses and the weight she channelizes to certain words. However, her eyes have this consistent deadpan expression that really lets the series down. Even if you were to admire what it was attempting, it is heavily let down with a very poor performance by the leading actor, making Mandala Murders truly a series that had great potential and started with great promise, but something that substantially nosedives in quality in the latter half. I do want to rant about something, so there will be spoilers ahead. If you still have to see the series, you can click away now because the spoilers will start in 3, 2, 1. You ready for this? Let's go. The glaring loopholes are atrocious in this series. How the hell did they get Kavita from the hospital? That forced obsession with that secretary going full Tere Naam was absolutely hilarious. The police force is always 10 steps behind in everything. Vaani is probably the most incompetent officer telling her superior she is so close, but all she is seeing while cracking the case is one murder after the other. She is literally not even cracking the case. She is entirely dependent on Jameel Khan's character to deduce the symbols. And what's funny is that Jameel only finishes cracking the code of one symbol after a murder has taken place. Almost like he waits for the next murder to happen so that he can crack the other symbol. It works like a relay race. He can't overwork himself, so he cracks one symbol so that the time the police gets there, it's already too late, only to repeat the cycle again and again. Finally, the ultimate reveal of Surveen was not shocking at all, but what I also concluded was that it was poor writing. Many of Surveen's decisions up to the ultimate reveal of being a part of the Mandal just did not make sense. Why have the romantic kiss and affair if the goal was to ultimately kill him? Is she swayed by her emotions so easily? That isn't consistent with her clarity in the climax. Why orchestrate the fake kidnapping of her own son? Why not keep the murders discreet if the goal is to revive Yasta and go undetected? And finally, when Vaibhav asks her on why she did all of this, she says, "Tum nahi samjhoge." Kaisala? What do you mean तुम नहीं समझोगे? ये क्लाइमैक्स है भाई. समझाओ कि मंडल का इम्पैक्ट क्या था तुम्हारी लाइफ में. At least give me a small glimpse of the brainwashing that you have grown up with. I am to assume that you are as crazy as your grandmother. What's the point of storytelling if सारे dots मैं ही connect करूं? Anyway, the forced attempt to revive this show for a second season in the conclusion was absolutely laughable. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Mandala Murders. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.